Welcome to our world-renowned podcast, Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray. I'm a TEDx and keynote speaker and author. Also, I'm executive producer of the movie Show Her the Money. Plus, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Our weekly show features interviews with powerhouse women founders, funders, and change makers that are sure to inspire you. Let's go. Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation, as well as executive producer of Show Her the Money movie, which we hope you've seen. And if not, it is now available on Amazon and Apple TV, as well as coming on other networks. So today, I have back on my dear friend that we have been collaborating over the years. She is a powerhouse in this space of women getting investment and becoming investors. And really, she helps a lot of founders soar. Is what I'm going to say, through all of the things that her entity brings to the table, which is Scroobious. And every founder should be looking up Scroobious. Please welcome the founder of Scroobious, Allison Byers. Hi, Allison. How are you today?
Hey, Catherine, thank you so much for having me back on. I am doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I was just in your neck of the woods in Boston at Girls into VC Summit. And I have to say, I'm so excited about this younger generation. They are just so gifted, such powerhouses, such innovators. And I know you work with so many of them because Scroobius, as we've talked about before, has an accelerator and all kinds of educational programs, just so much to support founders. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Scroobius in case they didn't hear the prior, and then we're going to talk about your new book.
Yeah, absolutely. And totally agree. This younger generation of investors is so inspiring. And it is what we talk about at Scroobius and with my book and all of it is there are so many more people out there interested in the private markets and getting involved in innovation in all different ways. And they bring a new wave of energy and insight to the space. So Scroobius is a platform that is built upon the foundational knowledge that access to resources and money follows relationships, not the other way around. So we help people in the startup ecosystem, whether it's founders or investors or mentors or what I call angel curious people who just haven't written that first check yet, find each other with really nuanced curation and develop relationships and trust patterns that will lead to that access and to us being able to consolidate capital from a different type of investor base.
Yeah, I think people watch things like Shark Tank and think, wow, these are amazing innovations. I wish I could invest in them. And Scroobius is one of those platforms they can check out. Well, who are the new innovators that I could be investing in? How could I be an angel investor? And I just love all the work that you've been doing. And you have such an interesting background. For those that don't know your background, you had raised millions of dollars for your own company and saw the flaw in the system. And let's give everybody a little background that you were a founder yourself.
Yeah, and still am on my second startup. So yes, my origin story, I'll keep it to the high level, but before founding Scroobius about 6 years ago, I had co-founded a medical device startup that we spun out of MIT and a hospital system here in Boston, where I'm located. And I was the business one on the team. So, I negotiated the license agreement, incorporated, and all the things, and did our fundraising as well. And we did raise almost $10 million, and I've now raised over 11 million in total across the companies. Um, we brought our product to FDA registration. We were in market. It was commercialized. It was in clinical trials. All the things that should have happened were happening. But I really struggled to raise our Series B round of funding. So we ended up selling the company early in something that's called an asset sale. For everyone listening, Lots of exited founders are in this situation, but they stop at the exited part. So it's important to talk about all of it. Um, and then I watched the acquiring team, which just happened to be led by all men, raise $55 million after that transaction.
Um,
And that's what I had been trying to raise. So it caused me to stop. It was very traumatic, but I researched. I had to understand what happened. And I did not know the funding statistics. I never thought to even look into that. So, as soon as you find out where capital goes and just how inequitable and inaccessible the venture capital system in particular is, I couldn't unsee it. And I was both liberated and obsessed with working toward more equitable access.
Yeah, that kind of same thing that happened to me. I just saw that 2% underfunding issue and I was like, "What? We need to make a movie about this and blow the top off of this and let people know because not enough people know about that disparity." And so that's why I love the work that you're doing. You're really trying to close that gap. You're trying to get that education out there for I really feel like one of the solutions, not all of it, but a big part of it is women have to be the investors, right? We
Mhm.
must be deciding who's getting the funding. One of the biggest flaws has been that these women are going and pitching all old white men for the most part. Nothing wrong with old white men, but we do need some women at the table. We do need some diversity at the table of who is actually doing the investing. One, because we want it to be equitable, and two, we want all of those people, women and diverse people, to have the opportunity to build their wealth in this capacity. And that's really what's been hidden. And that I know you and I are on a mission to uncover and let people know
Yes.
this is for anyone. You have the opportunity to invest in these founders, and we are creating the platforms to do that. And that's what I love about Scroobious. And I love that you have an accelerator that really helps these founders know how to connect to money, know how to connect to resources, and provide them that platform to do just that.
Yeah. So a couple things. One thing you hit on that is so critical, Catherine, is there is a very strong psychological principle called familiarity bias, where we naturally, as humans, all of us, see people who are like us as less risky. And we see the unfamiliar as a risky bet or uncertain. And what we've seen happen in venture capital across its progression as an industry, which is relatively new, is it's very homogenous. 93% of venture capital dollars are controlled by white men specifically. And so, with such homogeneity, they, of course, are putting their money into a very similar demographic because they view them as less risky. And when we expand who sees themselves as an investor, which does not have to be venture capital, that is one small piece of the
Yes,
capital landscape, then we start seeing more investment in those who feel familiar to a more diverse base. And just
yes.
as you said, new innovations can be brought to market that are blocked right now, and new people can have ownership in them and exponentially grow wealth as we've seen that limited demographic be able to do.
Yes. And it doesn't matter, like you said, if it's venture capital, angel investing, private equity, all of these alternative assets that women really haven't considered them an investor themselves as an investor in these alternative assets because they didn't understand them. We hope now that they'll be curious enough to realize how fascinating they are, how impactful they are, how we should be having a say so in what are the future products and services since we are 80% of the buyers of those products and services, right? It's crazy.
Absolutely.
But that's a power to be able to have both sides of that. And,
Yeah.
I mentioned that exactly what you just said in my TED talk of Fund Women Save the World was that research shows people tend to invest in people they identify with. So
Yep.
if there's no one at the table deciding who gets the money that you identify with, how are you going to get the money? So, speaking of getting the money, let's talk fundraising because you have an amazing new book coming out. The name of it is Fundraising for the Rest of Us. Fundraising for the Rest of Us. Let's talk about what that means. And I just want to start by saying you have a saying that I totally believe in. Fundraising is not a numbers game, it's about people. And I have been saying that in every platform that I've been able to talk about fundraising, exactly that. So you and I are super aligned. Let's talk about why you wrote the book and what it's about.
Absolutely. I love that you pulled that line out because it is. That's how it happens today, even in that homogenous system. It's people investing in people and it's relationship based. So fundraising for the rest of us. I don't love the phrase underrepresented. And that's what a lot of us are referred to, but specifically in the venture capital landscape where we are underrepresented. But really, the rest of us are most of the population, right? The rest of us are the market majority, and we are powerful, and we matter, and we belong in this fundraising system, and in the world of innovation, and in the world of ownership and equity. So just because we aren't represented in one part of that landscape doesn't mean that we shouldn't have resources and material and authors and teachers and films that speak to the rest of us. And that's why I wrote this book. My platform Scroobious has helped over 1,000 founders and investors at this point. And we work with accelerator programs, to your point before, we help them better connect their own communities and open up that capital that sits dormant with their alumni who aren't connected to the current innovators. It's a huge part of what we do is expanding the investor base that way. But yeah, fundraising for the rest of us, it's the guide I wished I'd had. We are sorely lacking diverse voices and in particular female voices in the space of educational material for fundraising. And you know this well too. You just put out a book as well. And that was a huge motivation is another medium to reach people and to help them be seen and understood. So that's the theme through the book. It is an all-purpose guide to all things fundraising and pitching, everything in that landscape. But throughout, the theme is knowing when there might be bias, how to identify it, and how you act on it in a way that progresses you without you losing your identity.
So, your book, Fundraising for the Rest of Us, comes out today, April 13th. I mean, excuse me, May 13th. And we're super excited to pick that up. Where can people get that book?
I mean, anywhere that you would shop for books online, you can get it. I can't say right now what physical bookstores that it will be in, but it will. But I would go to any major book platform and you'll find it there. And the
I'm
audio
excited.
book too. That was a really interesting experience.
Did you record it yourself?
Yes, I sure did. Couldn't do it
Yes.
another way.
I'm telling you, writing a book and recording it is like birthing a baby.
It's
Not that I
took,
would know,
took
but
much longer.
exactly. Um, and I'm proud to I understand I have an excerpt in there, so I'm excited to be a part of your amazing book.
Yeah, so part of this book, I want everyone to feel like they relate to something in this book and to somebody to hear themselves or see themselves. I'm only one identity. So I interviewed 30 different entrepreneurs and investors and included their stories throughout the book to make the concepts and the learnings real and to highlight all of those different voices. So yes, you are featured and there are some great tidbits from you in there.
I love that. Thank you so much. I'm so honored. I mean, I think of you as just being like, really one of the pioneers in this industry. And you really, like you said, you've been doing this for 6 years. And there's really I know we get discouraged sometime, but there really is a lot of progress. I mean, just look at the girls in the VC having 10,000 members around the world in 2 years. I think it just goes to show that this younger generation gets it, that how important it is to be aware of these alternative investments and investing in things outside of the norm that our generation didn't even know about or understand because women were kind of kept from that. So I'm excited for the future. And I think, sometimes we feel like progress is slow, but it is coming. And with this large transfer of wealth, the largest ever in history to women, we really will have the ability to change it up.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
I
Yeah.
so agree. And it is really hard to get through the day sometimes and balance the macro of what is happening in the world and in our country in particular, and the micro of your everyday and maintaining that hope. But just like you said, what we're seeing in the space of private investing is this awakening where people realize what it means. And that when you invest, it's not just to make a lot of money, it's voting with your dollars for what you
Yes.
want to see in the world.
I love that you're saying that. I always say that. Vote with your dollars. Absolutely. By investing in women entrepreneurs and their innovations that are going to impact the future of the planet as well as your portfolio.
Yes, exactly. And that's something I say in the book is, I started the book with a manifesto that just kind of came out of me, but it's some of this feeling of, we're not going to wait around for people to save us. That's not what's happening here. And we don't need to be saved. The power is always with the people, with all of us. But we have a hard time coming together and consolidating in the way that we need to see that big change.
Wait, wasn't that in the Wizard of Oz? You always had the power.
Yes, I mean it sounds so corny, but but it's true, right? Even the small, when you feel overwhelmed, do a small thing. Go check out an equity crowdfunding portal and make a small investment. It's the same as buying a luxury good for yourself, or not even
Right,
buying it. You can invest whatever on an equity crowdfunding portal in small amounts. Go
right.
do something. Go donate to venture philanthropy and use a platform like Inspire Access. There's all these new ways to participate in the private economy that didn't exist before. And it's because so many of us realize we can do it now and we can be
Right.
part of it, whether it's on the building side or the investing side.
Correct. And I'm going to wrap with this, and that is that you and I have both raised millions of dollars, and that we both agree that the best advice we can give those out there fundraising is exactly what we started this with, that fundraising is not a numbers game. As we said earlier, it is about people. And going out there and meeting people, you probably have the same thing happen. People call, hey, do you have a investor for me? Well, actually, you have to go out and build your network. And guess what? That can actually be fun. So have fun going out there and meeting the most fascinating people on the planet, which are the investors and the founders who are creating innovations. And if you're not an innovator yourself, you have the potential to invest in someone who is, that does have an innovation. And so it's an exciting arena to step into. We just want more women to be thinking about that. That going to an angel group, going to a venture capital summit, going to a family offices gathering, going into a women's conference of entrepreneurs and investors, founders and funders, and getting involved in that exciting community of learning about what are the exciting innovations coming down the pike and how you could be part of that exciting world, meeting these incredible women, right? And so I think start looking for those groups that you can join. And I'm sure there's plenty of that information on Scroobious. And we have that information too on sheangelinvestors.com, where we feature Scroobious. So,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So,
So there's
no,
podcasts, there's
exactly.
books, there's groups to join. ladies, you just have to get out there and immerse yourself in the incredible world of being founder and funder, and think of yourself as all of you can be part of those communities, right?
Absolutely. There are so many of us out there who are building and we're collaborating. And the one thing I want to add on to what you said is also switching that mindset from the transaction of I'm looking for investors to what we've been talking about is you're looking for people and you actually don't know who is an investor or not. So when you open up your mindset and you talk to people who could be helpful for you or who have a good opinion or who knows, and you deepen the relationship, that's when it happens, right? It's that old adage of ask for money and you get advice, ask for advice and you get money. It's true because asking for advice builds a relationship and you never know. Some of my biggest and greatest investors invested years after I knew them and I didn't even know that they had that kind of money or that they were going to invest. And
Yes.
that's when you get to enter that space.
Yeah. And fun, surrounding yourself with like-minded people and building out that community or network, so that you have them to go to and ask. And once you find some like-minded people, they typically have friends who are also like-minded. So if they like what you're doing, their circle will likely like what you're doing. And then that's how it snowballs. But getting that, like you said, that flip of that mindset, I always say too, you're not asking for yourself, you're asking for that great download you had, your purpose on the planet. And if you can reframe it like that, you're going to be fearless in asking for that funding.
Oh, totally. I love that's another huge theme that I write about, that I speak about, is that you're not asking for charity and you're not asking for help. You're not asking for support. You're offering an opportunity to be part of something meaningful that will deliver financial gain. And you have to get yourself there. Don't treat talking to someone with money like you're asking for a handout. You're not. You're offering them something. And immediately you feel more confident in yourself when you look at it that way.
I love that. Well, we are going to end on that note for sure. So everybody needs to go out and get Fundraising for the Rest of Us, Allison Byers' new book. And just really, I know you're going to enjoy it. I know it's going to help a lot of founders really get over that hump of how to do fundraising. I appreciate you putting the book together and talking about it on today's show. So, Allison, how do you prefer people reach out? Is it scroobious.com?
Yeah, or you can go to AllisonByers.com and that links to all the things.
Okay, great. So, for those just listening and not watching, Allison is with two L's and Byers, Byers. Allison Byers, Scroobious. You're going to want to check that out. You can also visit our movie site, showherthemoneymovie.com. Look for that also on Amazon and Apple TV, and it will be on other streaming networks soon. And of course, be sure to mark your calendar today to go pick up the book. Again, the name of it is Fundraising for the Rest of Us. Thank you so much, Allison, for being a great guest.
Oh, thank you so much, Catherine. Love chatting with you.
Thanks, everybody. Make it a great week.